Hello, and welcome to this urban entrepreneurship mini lecture on the subject of the executive summary. My name is David Tarver, and I'm your instructor. So in this mini lecture, we discuss the purpose, the content, the format, and the execution of the executive summary, which is a brief written summary of your business opportunity. The objectives for this lecture and this lesson are that you design and construct an effective written summary of your business opportunity, again, that we call the executive summary, and that you can choose the appropriate time and circumstance to employ your executive summary. A good way to think about the executive summary is that if your business opportunity is a product, then the executive summary is the brochure for that product. It's a document that you can hand to someone that will immediately have them understand your product, the business opportunity, and will excite them about learning more about it. So, the purpose of the executive summary is to attract stakeholder interest in your business opportunity. You want to interest people about your business opportunity and excite them about your business opportunity. So who are these stakeholders, and what kind of interest are we seeking from them? Some examples would be, we often present this kind of a document to people because we're seeking investment dollars from them. But we also use a document like this to recruit team members, co-founders, employees. We can use a document like this to acquire partners or key suppliers. And sometimes we use a document like this with key customers to acquaint them with the company overall and the business opportunity overall. So those are just some of the ways that, some of the main ways that this sort of document is used. So what are the key attributes of a good executive summary? Well, it's brief, for one thing. We're often giving this kind of a document to people who are very busy. Lots of times they're powerful, they're involved in a lot of things, they've got a lot of things to do, and the last thing they want to do is to read through a long document. They want to get the essential elements of the opportunity you're presenting to them. So it should be brief, and it should be attractive. It should look good. It should look like something that someone wants to pick up and read. It should be persuasive in that as a person reads this document, they should feel an affinity toward this business. They should feel that this business represents a good opportunity. Opportunity for investment, opportunity for employment, opportunity for partnership, whatever the reason you're giving them this document for. And the document should be credible. It should contain facts. It shouldn't be hyperbolic. It shouldn't exaggerate. Because if you go off the track and you create a document that has overstatement or statements that can be easily disproven, or even statements that someone is liable to refute based on their own knowledge, then you lose credibility, and the person is no longer going to be interested in the opportunity that you're presenting. So brief, attractive, persuasive, credible. So where does this executive summary fit? We've been talking about a number of different kinds of presentations, And so, for example, we've talked about the one-line pitch. The one-line pitch is something that you use in a brief or fleeting, casual encounter, often a social encounter. You might be at a party, you might be at a bar, you might just see someone on the street. And with this kind of a one-line pitch, you're just probing for interest. Most of the people you give this one-line pitch to are not going to be interested in in participating in your business in any way. A small percentage of them might, but that's not the purpose of the encounter with these people you're giving the one-line pitch to. Is often not a business purpose. So someone just asks you, what are you doing? What are you up to? And you give them this one-line pitch. In rare circumstances, they might be interested, and interested in further information. It might be a reason for them to be interested, or they might know someone who's interested. So that's the context in which this one-line pitch is used. And then we've talked about the elevator pitch. The elevator pitch is used when you have a brief encounter, longer often than a one-line pitch, but often a brief encounter with someone who you think could be useful to the business or might be interested in the business. You see some noted executive who's in your business area on the elevator, and you have an opportunity you have their attention for a brief period of time, so you want to give them a short presentation about your business. And so the objective of this elevator pitch is that you're seeking a follow-on meeting. Nobody's going to go in their pocket and give you money based on elevator pitch, but they might say, "Oh, yeah, I would like to know more about that." And you exchange business cards, and let's arrange to meet, and I'll hear more about it. So that's the context of the elevator pitch. We've also talked about the business opportunity presentation, or the pitch deck. And that's a more formal presentation to potential stakeholders in the business, investors or others. And what you're seeking with this business opportunity presentation is deeper engagement or support. And again, here, you're still not looking for someone to write a check at the end of that presentation. You're looking for a follow-on meeting in which you may be discussing more details of the business, and it might follow with even some due diligence on the part of the person that you're talking with, so they can get more information about the customers and the finances, and so the purpose again is to achieve deeper engagement on the part of that person who's hearing the pitch, and to arrange a follow-up meeting. So we come to the executive summary and where this fits in. And so the executive summary is a written summary of the business opportunity. You note that these other three kinds of pitches are not something that you would hand to someone. They're something you would present to someone. Well, the executive summary is a document that you would hand to someone and leave behind with them. So again, here you're seeking a formal presentation. You might be seeking an opportunity to give that business opportunity pitch deck, or just to have a deeper interactive discussion with the recipient. But it's a written document, brief document that you're giving to the person that you are looking to engage. So what are the uses of this executive summary document? So you could envision sending this document as an attachment to a message, email message, or a letter that's seeking a formal interactive presentation of your business opportunity. So you know that there's someone out there who may be interested in what you're doing. Maybe you've had a brief conversation with them and they seem interested. So you say, okay, I'm going to send you an executive summary and maybe we can get together. I'd like to get together with you and give you a fuller presentation, but here's the essence of what we're doing. And you send that along. It's also often sometimes employed as what we call a leave behind piece following a formal pitch presentation. So you might have done a formal presentation and your contact person, you might hand them the executive summary so that as the folks are considering your business, the recipient is considering your business, or the recipient and the recipient's team, they have a document that they can look at that provides a strong presentation of the business. Remember, your pitch deck isn't going to have a lot of words in it. Most of the words in your pitch deck are going to be the words that you say. So having a document that you can leave behind that is elegantly worded and attractive and still presents the business in a persuasive way is a good thing to leave with the people who you're trying to court. And the other use of an executive summary, if you're doing a business plan, which is a more formal document that talks about how the business is going to be implemented, who's going to do what when in the different areas of the business, like marketing and finance and operations and sales. You're creating this business plan document that can be quite a long document because it has a lot of details in it. But usually, almost always, the first and the most important section of that business plan document is your executive summary. Because again, a lot of people won't read the whole business plan, or they might give the pieces of the business plan to people on their team to analyze. But you want them to have that summary, something that they can quickly and easily read and digest that's going to excite them about the business. And again, oftentimes people won't get to the rest of the business plan. And a lot of times nowadays, people are not even providing, and recipients aren't even asking for a formal business plan. So that executive summary becomes even more important because lots of times it's the only written document that a potential investor or other interested party will see as they make the decision to engage further with you. So, what are the components of this executive summary? So, the executive summary always starts out with a description of the opportunity. And basically, when I'm talking about these components, you can think about these components as paragraphs in the executive summary, because each one of them deals with a separate topic, one and only one topic. So the first paragraph would be the description of the opportunity. We often call this the hook, and I'll get into that more in a minute. Then you want to describe your business concept. You want to give an overview of the industry. You want to talk about the target market. Who are you providing this, aiming to provide this product or service to? What's your competitive advantage? Again, we always talk about why you. We often have in this document a brief description of the business model and economics of the opportunity. The team. Often we also talk about the offering. What is the investment offering? In this case, we're not dealing with that, but those two things are often in the plan. We're going to focus our attention on describing the team for the purposes of this executive summary. And again, we often provide a financial snapshot in an executive summary, just at a glance, what do the finances of the business look like, revenue and profit over time. We're not asking for that in this particular case, but in general, that is something that would be included in an executive summary. we are asking for, in this particular executive summary case, what's the business status? What are the next implementation steps for the business? So those are the components that we are going for in this executive summary. So let's talk about the hook, the description of the opportunity. This is probably the most, in fact, it is the most important paragraph in the whole document. If you're writing a business plan, it's the most important paragraph in the business plan, in the entire document, because it's the summary of the summary. It's a paragraph that just gives a compelling description of the business opportunity. And it's so compelling that it makes the recipient want to read the remainder of the document. And it's something that the recipient should remember after they set the document aside. You know, they're not going to remember the details of the business, the marketing strategy, or the business model and that sort of thing, but they will remember this hook if it's written the right way. So the way I often like to think about the hook is that if the executive summary were a song, the hook would be the refrain. You know, when you think about popular songs, a lot of times people don't know all the words and the verses and everything, but they do remember the refrain. You know, something like, ain't no mountain high enough, ain't no valley low enough. You know, people will remember that. They don't remember all the different verses of that song. And by the way, that song, Ain't No Mountain High Enough, that hook is listed. If you go on Google, that's the most popular song hook of all time. So you want to have a popular hook like that at the beginning of your document, so people walk around talking about what this business is about. They remember it. It's stuck in their head. So the business concept. What do we mean by the business concept? That's basically just describing what problem is the business aiming to solve, or what need is it fulfilling? What is the company's solution or product or service? And why is it important to solve this problem now? That's the business concept. Just give an idea. What does the company do and why is it doing it? What's the industry? And what key trends or forces are in effect in this industry? And who are the key industry players? How will the company navigate the industry? That's the kind of stuff you have in the industry overview. So if you're in the business of making motorcycles, for example, if you have this innovative new motorcycle, that's the industry you're operating in, personal mobility or motorcycles, and you might indicate things like, wow, you know, there's a big move toward electrification in cycles. There's a lot of foreign competition, a lot of international competition. Key players in the industry are Yamaha and this and that, but we're gonna enter this market in this way, and we're gonna be successful because we're gonna position ourselves in this part of the industry. This is how we're gonna navigate this particular industry, and so that's the kind of information you want to give in this section, and it gives, again, credibility to your proposal in the eyes of the reader when you can identify where your company fits and where your opportunity fits in the existing against the existing companies in the industry and against those forces and players in the industry. Then you want to talk about target market. Who is the company aiming to serve, and how large is the market opportunity in the near term and in the longer term? We often talk about TAM, SAM, and SOM. You know, what's the total addressable market, the served available market, the served objective market. It's more important to think in terms of realistically for this company in the next couple of years, what do we expect to do? What's the size of the opportunity in the next couple of years, and how much of that are we going to get? And then over the longer term, how big is this opportunity generally? That's what we're trying to give the reader a sense of. And then again, we get to this issue of why you? Why is your company uniquely suited to address the market need that you've identified? Is it that your people have some special expertise, or is there some trade secrets or intellectual property or design skills there? Is there special access to a market that other people don't have knowledge of or access to? Do you have any kind of partnerships that give you a real advantage in this marketplace that maybe others don't have the same access to? So we want to get a sense of why will this company succeed against the inevitable competition that will be in the market. And we want to know how will the company succeed versus the direct and the indirect competitors, and even the substitutes, the items that may not look like products. Again, we mentioned the motorcycle example. You have direct competitors, other motorcycle makers. You have indirect competitors that might be, electric bicycle makers. And you have substitutes. People might just choose to drive, or they might choose to walk, or they might choose to ride a bicycle. So, you want to give the reader a sense of, again, that you know what this competitive situation is, and you know how your product is going to fit in and compete against these other players. And then you want to give a sense of the business model and the economics of the opportunity. So how does the business work in a nutshell? How does it make money? What kind of profit margins does it make on the products that it sells? What are the main kinds of activities that the business has to be good at in order to succeed? And are there any other special considerations? Is there anything special about the business model in terms of the partners or the resources of the business or the manufacturing process? Or, again, you don't need to go down a list of every element of the business model, but if there's something that stands out as special about this business model, you want to highlight that. So again, how does it work? How does it make money? What are the profit margins? What's the real revenue and profit potential of this business? And then we turn to a paragraph on the team. So who are the key team members and what are their roles? We want to get a sense, again, that the people who are executing this business are capable and know what they're doing and can address fully the opportunity at hand. And we also want to know what holes there are. We have roles and holes. What key team roles need to be filled at this point? And that will give an indication as to once the team is fully configured, fully rounded out, this company will have the ability to do what it needs to do. So again, you want to give a picture of that team situation. And finally, we want to know, what is this company's path to success from where they are right now? And we want to talk in terms of the near-term path, as well as potentially long-term if that's relevant. But mainly what we want to focus on the next 1 to 2 years. So just give a summary of the current business status. In my motorcycle business example, the company is selling mainly in the United States. They're achieving good penetration in this particular part of the market. They want to make the transition to electrification because they see that as a huge opportunity and a trend that's occurring. That's kind of current status information. They need to build up the engineering team so that they can bring in people who are familiar with electric mobility as opposed to gasoline-powered engines. You want to give an indication of where this business stands right now, especially in terms of where they're looking to go. And what are some of the key milestones? Hire a chief engineer who's familiar with the electrification, or create a solid marketing and sales plan based on an electric product offering. So what are these key milestones for the next 1 to 2 years that the company needs to achieve to be successful? And then what positive results do you expect as a result of achieving those milestones? So that's the path to success that we are looking to identify. So I used a few references in putting this information together, this brief lecture together. I used a book called Entrepreneurship by William Bygrave and Andrew Zacharakis. In particular, I used Chapter 7, the business planning process, and particularly the focus on the executive summary. And I can make that chapter available to you if you want to read it further. There's also an article, How to Write a Great Business Plan, by William Solman, Harvard Business Review. Again, in this particular course, we're not writing a business plan, but there's useful information in both of these documents, and part of it relates to the information that you need to have in your executive summary. So I've also made this article available to you as a PDF. And then there's an article at the following link there that talks about how to write an executive summary. It's by Eric Markowitz, and it's from Inc. magazine. So these references will give you some further and deeper information on the subject of executive summary and a business plan, if you wish to pursue that. So I hope this information was helpful to you, and I look forward to seeing the kinds of executive summaries that you'll produce for your teams. I know they'll be great. So, as we like to say, risk, fail, try, do. Don't forget to say, go blue.